Yeah, well, I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
What's going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here today, and welcome back to another episode of Indie Breakdown, where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power stats and abilities and get them ready for an eventual indie versus matchup. We got another epic guest on today. We're going to go ahead and bring him to the stage real quick. Oop. What's going on, boss?
Hey, now, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Let the people know who you are, the company that you're with, and the comic book character you bring into the breakdown today.
All right, my name is Lawrence King. I'm from Constant Hustle Comics. I'm the original um, uh, creator from there, CEO, and I'm bringing Avery the Astonishing to the breakdown today.
Awesome. Okay, tell us a little bit about Constant Hustle real quick, man. Give us a little bit of the inspiration of that and the character of Avery the Astonishing before we dive right into it.
Okay. The idea for Constant Hustle Comics came to me when I'm a writer by trade. Well, yeah, I'm a writer by trade, and I was writing spec scripts and short film scripts, and I wanted to have a creative outlet that I wasn't able to get to in indie filmmaking. So the way I was able to do that was through right at that time, I read a article about how people are making indie comics.
Mm-hmm.
And before I read that article, I had no idea you could even make indie comics. I thought the only way you got into the comic book industry was to write a script and send it to either Marvel or DC or Dark Horse or someone like that, and then or Image, and they picked it up, and that's how you got in. But there was an article on Facebook about how you get into indie comics and things of that nature, and it was about the character Epic that Lonnie Lowe at the time had out. Mm-hmm. And I read through it, I burned through the article, and then I contacted Lonnie Lowe, like within 5 minutes of me reading the article. I contacted him directly, and to his credit, he took the time out to tell me exactly how to get into everything and how to do this and how to do that. And next thing I know, he gave me a list of things I would need if I was serious, because everybody wants to party, but nobody wants to clean up after. Mm-hmm. So he gave me a list of stuff that I would need to do to make sure I was, down for it. And I completed the list and came back to him. And then he was like, all right, man, this is what you do from here. And that was 6 or 7 years ago. And we've been going strong since. We're basically in an Image archetype where there's we have, I think, about 5 creators now who each have done their own, each do their own books. And we just come together to bring our resources together and our stories together and to get it out there, man. We're just storytellers. We're not at the level that some studios are, where they're trying to make animation and things of that nature. We just want to tell great stories right now, man. The rest of it'll come in time.
Okay.
We're just focusing one step at a time.
Fair enough. Well, with that being said, let's dive into Avery, man. What's the inspiration behind her? And then let's dive into those powers. What is her power set?
Okay, so the inspiration behind Avery was we knew as a company we wanted a strong archetype, female-born archetype that represented the best qualities a female leader would have, a female-born leader would have, because Avery is gender fluid. But so the most groundbreaking attributes of a female leader. So Avery is one of the first to be in Marine Force Recon. Avery is one of the first to lead a Marine Force recon team. Avery's one of the first to go on the type of missions that that they go on, starting with issue number 1. So Avery is our Wonder Woman type character.
Okay.
And everything that comes along with that, because Wonder Woman was born into her powers. Supergirl born into her powers. Storm. You know what? I don't remember. I don't remember if Storm was born into her powers.
I think so.
I believe so. But with Avery was chosen by a society of aliens. By a society of aliens that have that infiltrate our society, and because of her natural born ability to be a guardian and to protect, they choose her to inhabit this power called the power of the dwarf star.
Okay.
And they get it when they need it the most. I would give away more, but you have to read the book in order to realize, or actually we have to read the second edition that we're finishing up now to realize when the powers come into play. Because there's a big in the first arc of the book, there's a big
event.
I'm trying to get my words right. I'm sorry, excuse me for being frazzled, but Avery the Astonishing is not the type of book where within the first 3 minutes Avery has her powers, and then within the first 8 pages she's killed a couple of the soldier ants, and now by page 15 she's working to find the master villain and everything like that. Avery's a slow burn. Avery's a real character-driven indie comic.
Okay.
So Avery shows their ability before the powers even come into play. The big arc and the subsequent smaller arcs of the series all involved before their powers even come into play.
Okay.
So we're really.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. We're really just trying to make it so it's character and plot dense.
Yes.
Before the powers even become a factor. Think of it like you remember in The Walking Dead in the beginning. In the beginning. Now I'm not talking about towards the end, but in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
It was more of a character study, and the zombies were a byproduct of that. So you were more worried about what the other humans were going to do,
exactly,
whether you were worried about what the zombies are going to do. So with Avery the Astonishing does everything she would do with powers without powers.
Okay.
It doesn't make her who they are.
Yeah.
It just gives her more of the ability to do what she would do or they would do naturally.
Yeah. Okay. And I was gonna say great minds think alike, because several of our stories are just that as well, kind of slow burn, so that you can get to really understand who they are.
Right.
Our story Gray, same thing, or better yet, our story at Monty. She's got fire powers, sure, but she's terrified of them, right? And so with mental health and all of this, and it's really getting to know the name of the story is Edmani. Her name is Fatima. It's really about getting to know Fatima throughout that whole journey. So whether she embraces the powers or not, you get to understand her before she steps into that next step in or portion of her story. So I absolutely I love those. I love those because
that's dope. I like that idea. That's like I can't think of the character's name on Hellboy, and I can't think of Hellboy's woman's name right now. But she can't control her powers, and she has like a mantra she goes by before she uses them. The fire is me. I am it. Yeah. I like that idea. That's pretty cool. I like that.
So with that being said, then, well, let's talk about their experiences then. You said, obviously military at this point. that they've gone through. How long have
Yeah.
they been in the military, and what kind of operations and missions have they have? So we can start talking about
So
expertise.
they went through the first 4 years, 6 years in Marines. They were picked up after the while going through boot to try out for Marine Force Recon.
Okay.
Someone saw their potential and asked them to try out for Marine Force Recon. Passed Marine Force Recon, and then through her first two missions, saw that they could probably lead a team, and
Okay.
that is where we find them at. So we find them leading a team, and then realizing while they're leading that team that she has certain uh, uh, mental baggage
Okay.
that she needs to try to get under wraps mentally. A way she finds an outlet for it is learning MMA from another instructor
Mm-hmm.
on base,
Okay.
and that's where that part of it comes in. So not only does she have, or not only do they have their Marine Force Recon training, but they also have their MMA training, and they also have the mindfulness of trying to keep their emotions under wraps, which becomes harder to do because uh, the power of the dwarf star is sentient within itself. It has two different phases. It has the regular phase, and then it has the malevolent phase,
Okay.
where it just wants to watch the world burn. So Avery has to keep that part of it under wraps.
Interesting. Okay. So before we dive back into the dwarf star thing, so she's regular. Excuse me. They're a regular human at this point,
Hmm.
right? So
Yep,
durability. I'm assuming strength, just kind of peak physical fitness and physique at that point.
that is correct.
Okay. And so experience wise, we're looking at 6 years in the Marines. MMA
Hmm.
is during that same course of time, so about 6 years or a little less than that, based on.
I would say at least 4 to 5 because the book covers when they're out of the Marines as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there's a little bit of
So
a. Okay.
yeah, the book covers that, and it also covers how they are trying to uh, fight a male for one of his belts.
Okay. Okay. So we got so a couple years with MMA, a couple years in
Hmm.
the military. Has gone on several missions. I'm sure,
Hmm.
right? Okay.
Hmm.
What is their speciality weapon wise, right? Because I already see a matchup right now in my head. We had Alfred Page on, and he had a scale
Hmm.
point. Now, obviously, we're also going to include Avery with their powers,
Right,
but without that, just thinking about pre-powers, like, all right, that's gonna be an interesting matchup with that military career and expertise and stuff like that. But all that to
right.
say, what proficiencies does Avery have in regards to weapons and what have you?
So Avery would be more of a small weapons
Okay.
and hand to hand silent kill type of mission. They're sent in to get people out of have been taken hostage.
We're talking Splinter Cell type joint.
Yeah, we're talking Splinter Cell type stealth. Go in, get them. Only carries a 45 and a knife because most of Avery's kills are silent, and then
Okay.
comes right back out with whoever the person is.
Okay. Snake Eater, I see you. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, so obviously again, several years, definitely gone on some kind of high value missions, if you would. So
Hmm.
how long into their career then do we see the power of the dwarf star kick in?
The power of the Dwarf Star kicks in after the match that they have with the male in an MMA cage. They have
Mm-hmm.
a fight with a male in the octagon, and uh, um, that starts a snowball effect.
Okay.
Things start happening, and that's when the powers kick in.
Okay.
So that would be at the end of the six when they get out, and that would be after They've trained in MMA and then out as well to be able to fight on a championship level.
Okay. So, okay. Let's talk about are we able to talk about the powers that the Dwarf Star provides Avery? Okay.
Yes.
So let's dive into that really quick. And you know what? Even before we talk about that, I am curious to know, does it add to her stats, if you would, her physical durability, her stamina, that type of thing?
So the power of the Dwarf Star is I want to make sure I say this correctly because I want to say uh, uh, it's celestial in nature, but not the power of a celestial.
I
I'm not
understand.
talking about like, you know, Eternals or anything like that. I'm
Right.
talking about like so I'm talking about the speed of light.
Yes.
That's what Avery has. Avery has a basic ability that when they start flying, they can fly at the speed of light.
Okay.
They can hear things even in space where you're not really supposed to be able to hear anything in space.
Mm-hmm.
So
Got you. So she's inherited the energy. I keep saying they've inherited the energy of the celestial bodies, but not a
right.
entity.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So like I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's things of that nature, like their fists are as hard as like two baby Mjolnir hammers.
Okay. Ooh, okay. And that's a good
So
one.
they're
That's pretty, yeah. Okay, so they
right. So their fists are that hard. Their knees, because they use them to strike, and also their forehead is that hard as well.
okay.
So you got to figure. I don't like when we as a team think of powers. I don't like to think of just a power. Think of it like I look at a character like Flash.
Yeah.
For Flash to be able to do what the Flash does, Flash can not only run at ridiculous speeds. Flash has to be able to think at ridiculous speeds. Flash has to be able to maneuver at ridiculous speeds. So that means he has to be able to heal at ridiculous speeds as well. So it's not. So when I say that Avery's body or her extremities are as hard as Mjolnirs, it's not only because of that for striking power. It's also to be able to maneuver in space.
Right. Yeah.
If you're moving at the speed of light and you hit, like, say, an asteroid, if it was you or I, you're just a split. You're just a splat on the side of that asteroid. So Avery has to be able to fly through, basically break it apart and keep it pushing past that.
Okay. So then, you know what? Let's start with that durability then. What is the most Avery can handle in regards to that? So if somebody, I use this example when I was talking to Anaji about, right? If somebody fired a nuke at them, right?
Right.
Avery surviving that kind of that level of energy and damage.
I would say that Avery would not be able to survive a nuclear blast unharmed.
Okay.
But Avery's recovery time is so quick, is even if you hit Avery with a nuke, Avery would be able to get out of there before you fire the second one off.
I see. Okay. But there will be some level of damage.
There will be a level of damage. And Avery would have to recover. Definitely. Avery is susceptible to telekinesis attacks, telekinetic attacks, radiation, and that would all depend. It would be more of the blast that would hurt more than the radiation.
Okay.
Because you got to figure there's radiation coming off the sun all the time.
Facts.
And Avery could fly around the sun with absolutely no problem. So it would be more of the concussive blast of a nuke. And it would have to be a good size one as well. But it would be more of that. And like I said, Avery, they're definitely susceptible to telekinetic attacks. If you get somebody like a Professor X that will break down her mind,
Hmm.
Avery's still trying to get that part of her power under control.
Okay.
So
Now, is there a way to fortify their mind with the power of the dwarf star? Is there kind of a
see, it's gonna, we haven't gotten that far in the books yet, but it's going to take a combining. You know how when certain characters, once they finally realize that this is who they are now,
Mhm.
and this power or this whatever is is part of who they are, and it's just what they have to deal with.
Yeah, they kind of fully
So
realize themselves.
once Avery gets to that point, then the power of the Dwarf Star will be able to coat her mind from those type of attacks. It will never be 100%.
Mhm.
Avery will be susceptible to a very powerful, like a Emma Frost, Professor Xavier level of mind attack.
Okay. So, all right. So susceptible to telekinetic abilities, concussive
Uh-huh.
blasts and things at least as powerful as the strongest nuclear weapons that we have on the planet. And
Right,
let's talk about strength. What is she? I want to know what she's lifting, right? But then I also want to
right.
know how heavy those punches are. Yeah. So let's start with how heavy are they lifting?
So she they I do the same thing. I can't believe I'm doing it. Uh, they have Spider-Man type strength,
Okay.
but I thought about that at one time. So I say Spider-Man type strength, but I'm thinking, in all honesty, it's going to be more along the She-Hulk line
Okay.
of ability to lift at one time. But it's hard to gauge in punching power. I only say that because of this. So you have a character like, let's say, Superman.
Hmm.
Superman is, you get some DC books, he can move a planet with, when you hook him to it right, and and all that other stuff.
Pulling the
But
whole solar system on his back with a chain.
exactly. But Superman, where does he really know where to fight from?
Mm.
Superman really doesn't know how to punch through his hips. Superman really never been trained on how to use your whole body in certain situations to throw punches or uppercuts or things of that nature. When Avery knows exactly how to do that,
Hmm.
so it would be more of a it would be more of an Omni Man type level of punching power.
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
It would be more of a Viltrumite level of punching power because this is not like a Luke Cage
Right.
gently
Type scenario.
backslapping somebody. This is, somebody who has that type of power and knows how to punch through it.
Okay.
There's always that, to me, and I've talked about this with other creators. There's always that disconnect in there.
Hmm.
Like you could get like a Green Lantern character, John Stewart.
Yeah.
John Stewart's strong, and his will is amazingly strong.
Hmm.
But if you would couple that with somebody who really knows how to ground and pound, or
Yeah.
somebody who, like, say, in a Mike Tyson type level of punching power and
Right.
ability and speed, that is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Like I when you said that, when you brought up Green Lantern specifically, I thought Guy Gardner versus like a Kyle Rayner, right? Guy Gardner,
Right,
he's outboxing Kyle every time. He just
right,
like, sheer just blow for blow. But I
right, right, right,
Green Lantern's imagination in that sense,
right,
but I'm with you.
right,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
right. So
Um,
that's the type of stuff we're talking about.
okay. Now, what I will ask then, because of course we compared it to Viltrumites, but of course to bring it back into this verse, so we talking she can basically punch through, like not even just punch through buildings, but the force of her punches, excuse me, the force of their
Hmm.
punches are enough to
Right.
completely decimate buildings. Are we talking tanks? Are we talking,
Um,
submarines? How heavy?
I
are
would
those punches?
say, all right. So I would say ability for small buildings, punch directly through. Take a while for bigger buildings,
Okay.
but they have a concussive clap like the Hulk that can break
Okay.
apart a mountain.
Okay. Now I'm seeing. Like with the dwarf star ability. I'm seeing a matchup of Odina and Avery. Now, just a context. You're on season 3, so you're halfway through season 3 right now.
Right,
Irregardless,
right, right. Got you.
eventually, I want to include eventually everybody and be like, all right, here are the
Right,
characters. Who are you going for? But in
right,
talking, I'm like, wait a second, Avery. Now we're talking mountain level and stuff like that. And during that conversation, that same exact kind of feat kind of came about discussion. So it's just like, what do these two powerhouses? How would that look? So I'm brainstorming at the same time these matchups, but
Yeah, I can stick to you. I have we have a mini comic with Avery in it, and Avery's over in a area of Afghanistan,
okay,
and I can't say what Avery's doing over there because you have to read the books in order to know what Avery's looking for. But anyway, um, she runs into a group of fighters, and they shoot at her or shoot at them with a 50 cal gun, and it does nothing because Avery can produce a force field as well. And they try to hide in a mountain, and then she uses that blast, and the mountain comes into pieces, and she grabs or they grab one of the fighters and throws him up into space.
yo, okay. So yeah,
So
she's got a mountain level for sure.
it grows, the power grows in them as they get more angry.
Oh,
So
wait a second.
it feeds off. It feeds. There's a baseline level,
Yes. Okay.
and then it feeds off of anger as well, because
So
the power, the sentient power itself, loves anger.
interesting. So that goes back to the having to kind of monitor and control
Yep.
their emotions there. So base level is mountain level. When we get to the other side of the dwarf star abilities, that malevolent side, what kind of levels are we talking of strength here? What's that
You-
increase?
You're talking like okay. You seen that movie Brightburn?
I have not, but I am
Ooh.
familiar with it. I'm familiar with it though. You talking
Okay.
about the kid, he had
So
the red joint over his nose.
yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a part in that movie, and I'm not trying to give it away, but there's a part in that movie where the kid gets mad at his mom, and his mom is trying to call the cops, and he's flying through the house,
Mhm.
and he's hitting it. So he's not stopping; he's just flying through it, like putting holes in it,
Mhm.
as she's trying to call the cops. Avery can do that on a planetary level
Okay.
when Avery's in that I won't say binary mode because that's Captain Marvel, but when
Yeah.
Avery goes like full malevolent,
Mhm.
that's what can happen.
So we're talking from mountain level base, uh,
Hmm.
planetary,
Yep.
balls and all planetary mode. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so all right. So now on that same question, then, but on the durability side, so we talked about the concussive blast. Oh, we're talking about the concussive blast base. So what is her limit durability wise in that kind of malevolent state?
Oh, in a malevolent stage, it would take for a malevolent stage, it would take something close to an actual celestial to
Jesus.
knock her out. Now, here's the thing: you would be able to knock her out. A celestial would be able to knock her out.
Okay.
Kill her. You'd have to decimate Avery down to the last molecule.
So she's got a healing factor, like okay. So she's got
Yeah.
a really intense healing
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine being able to heal from a single atom in space,
Okay. Hey.
because the sentient power itself is so ancient and so old, it's going to preserve itself.
Now, this
So
power
even when
doesn't speak to her in any sense. It just resides in them.
it doesn't speak to her until it doesn't speak to them until they go malevolent. Then it speaks to them.
Okay, because now they're in a state where they can either understand
Right,
or open to its I wouldn't not necessarily taunts, but them speaking or what have you.
right, right.
Okay. So we've gone also over so far the strength, the durability, the techniques, rather the fighting technique, if you would, and now the
Hmm.
healing factor. And then there was a force field as well. Can you dive into the force field and kind of the upper limits base, but then also malevolent state?
So the force field base level is enough to cover them from, like I said, it was a 50 cal that tried to hit them, didn't do anything. Um, it would be able to pretty much shield them unless you did something like drop a building on it, like a
Okay.
big building on it, then it would crack apart. Malevolent stage, they can put a force field, let's say, malevolent stage, they could put a force field around them and let's say something the size of like a city bus,
Interesting. Okay.
like a
Okay. So
city
they
bus.
have
And it would take like a dark side level to crack it.
okay. Ooh. Now I'm really curious, and we could talk about this in a little bit. I am really
Uh,
curious. I look forward to seeing the type of enemies, just like a dark side S-Direct. So now I'm like, that begs the question now, who is she fighting in the story? But
right,
that's obviously that's kind of spoiler territory. So if you don't want to answer
right,
that, that's fine. But I do moving away from strength, durability, and of course we talked about the healing factor. We've talked about the force field now. I do want to know about speed and perception. Right. Obviously, we did talk about the fact that she moves at light speed. So, more specifically, I guess, in regards to her perception, like what we talked about with the flash thing, well, obviously she's moving light speed. She's got to perceive in quite a decent amount of time as well. Can you
right,
dive
right,
into
right, right. Now she's not. Oh, they're not like a genius level intellect.
that? Okay.
Standard, you know, average everyday person intellect
Hmm.
type. Um, so their perception is not on a okay. I'm around this type of celestial body. I know I have to do this. I know I have to do that. It's more of a basic. How do I either get to or through what I have to do right now
Okay.
type
I
of
see.
level.
And then to clarify specifically, so like if somebody fires a gun point blank, is it like
Right,
how that scene from Age of Ultron where Quicksilver sees the bullet in slow motion, or any of the numerous times we've seen Flash do something similar? Is it
right, right,
that
right.
crazy, or can you
It
take us
it,
through that a little bit?
it would be on that level, but once again, this is something that Avery has to mature into.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You
Okay.
know, so in the beginning, Avery's not going to be able to do all this stuff. This is like final form, or no, I shouldn't say final form. This is like base level once Avery is used to base level.
I see.
You know, Avery's not going to start like that. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Avery's not going to start out like being completely and totally in use of all her faculties and ready to go. And it's not going to be like that.
Fair enough. So
I try to make this as close to, I mean, without sounding stupid, as close to, grounded in reality as possible.
no, that's right. I'm with you there. So to not necessarily parking lot there, but where is she right now in the story? Are we still no powers at the moment with Avery?
Well, in
And
number two, matter of fact, we just um I'm with number two is going to be published between my company and Wingless Comics, with Brian Lambert being the editor of the book.
okay,
And we're at the point where Avery's powers start to manifest, but it's like it's like they're just starting to come on.
Okay.
Avery doesn't know what is happening. Avery doesn't know why it's happening, but Avery has a bigger problem altogether.
Mhm.
So it's going to be like I said, like the zombies. The powers are going to be there, but there's something else I need to worry about first
First.
that
Okay.
supersede the power type situation.
So, and then just to make sure I was on the same page with you earlier on, you said that at this point in the so essentially at this point in the story, this power hasn't been given to Avery as of yet, or has it been? And they haven't
It's
realized.
been given to Avery at the start of the second book, but the second book is not out yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. No, still good though. So, still questions for then on the second book. Obviously, we'll try to continue avoiding spoilers. So
Right, right.
we know they can move at light speed, in
Hmm.
space and when utilizing this. Now, is this? You brought up something that clicked for a second when you brought up that they have almost a binary mode, if you would. So I know when we
Right.
say like Captain Marvel, or at least at some iteration of them, usually they move that fast in space specifically. Is that a drawback for Avery in the series as well, where they're only light speed in space? Is there a difference in how they move on Earth?
There's going to
And
be a difference. There's going to be a difference on how they move on Earth because once again, this is going to be a learning curve.
right,
So Avery's going to get in a situation where Avery's going to try to move at that speed and then go through something or completely wreck something, and then Avery's going to have to learn how to use it. And I hate to keep bringing this person up.
no, you're
Use
fine.
it like a muscle, like Omni Man's head. It's a
Yes,
muscle that you have to learn how to use
yes, and you know,
because in space it's easy. Like I said, Avery's built out of certain things, so I need to go straight this way. I point myself that way and just go, and I can go through whatever's in front of me. But you can't do that on Earth.
on Earth, no, not at all. So obviously, flying speed is going to be crazy, right? So we're talking like
Hmm.
Mach. What Mach are we talking about? Safely, I guess, casual flying speed for Avery.
I would say probably Mach 1, maybe Mach 2,
Okay. And that's, of
and
course,
that's like
after.
a line of sight. That's a line of sight type situation.
Okay. Okay. And then running speed. Are we still are they moving still at the Mach speed when running, or if they ever find themselves having to run? Obviously, if you're
You
flying,
know,
why would you choose to run? But just
right, right, right. I haven't thought of the running part
okay.
because in everything, you know what? And let me back up real quick.
Hmm.
In everything that Avery's been in, because Avery hasn't been in just the one book. I can't believe once Brian sees this, he's gonna kill me. Um,
Uh
Avery hasn't been in just the one book. Avery's been in their own book, the first one, and
mhm.
then the Nightfall series with
Yes.
Wingless Comics.
Hmm.
That's 5 books right there. So that's 6 books Avery's been in. And
Hmm.
then for us at Constant Hustle, we have a like 200 and something page crossover with most of our characters called Eviction Bellum 1 and 2, and Avery was in there as well. Avery doesn't run. Avery flies.
Fair enough. Well, and
Avery flies.
we tried to keep it to, canon of the verse. I am curious, is all these appearances of Avery canon to your universe, or is it
It's all because all the ones I just said, yes, because um, Avery being in the Wingless verse or the Wing verse, or he's going to kill me for this as well. Being part of the Wingless Comics universe and our universe, our companies are pretty much intertwined.
I see.
So, like, there's another group I have, or a family I have that was based off my family that's in ours that'll make their way over to the Wingless books as well.
Oh,
So, yeah, it's all going to be canon for it because Avery is uh, learning their powers even in the Wingless comics books.
awesome. Okay. So now there's more books to be able to utilize. I am curious to know, is Avery utilizing their abilities in these other stories? Because one of my worries, and I don't mean to well, it's not necessarily rambling, but to get to the gist of it, my worry, of course, when you said that they're not using their powers until issue 2 was like, oh man, so like all these epic things they haven't done yet. But I'm curious now, these other books are canon.
Right.
Maybe different points in Avery's story. Has Avery
Yes.
utilized their powers, and to what extent in these other
Now,
stories?
Avery is utilized their powers in the Nightfall books. The Nightfall books would be further along than issue 2 is. So it would be, I would say it would be, say, after issue 3. Yeah, after issue 3, then their books, and then it would come back to Avery in a solo capacity.
That's
So Avery uses flight. Avery uses Avery uses super strength. Avery uses Avery has energy blast that come from her hands. Avery utilizes a lot. Excuse me. Avery utilizes those as well.
Okay. So, okay, now you know what? That's gonna be the next thing because I want to know the full repertoire of abilities that Avery has. But now, so I do want to know, since you brought up super strength again, I want to know to what. And let me ask this question first: the malevolent side of it we haven't seen in action as of yet, correct?
Malevolent side, no, we have not.
Okay, perfect. So then, what is the kind of upper echelons of abilities that we do see her utilize in these various stories? How was the super strength kind of utilized that we've seen in there? Because of course, I do want to go back. I'm going to check these out and make sure that when we do the breakdowns for accuracy, so we know what kind of level we're playing at when it comes to Avery.
Okay. Avery goes against a character in the Eviction Bellum books that utilizes what's called uh, dark matter and can summon up dragons and other things made of it. And that power basically can break a planet in half. And Avery goes toe to toe with that character.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the Eviction Bellum, and still does the energy blast, and still does the flight, and still does the durability and everything of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the Nightfall series, Avery goes against an ancient evil in the form of a dragon that can basically swallow the world into darkness. And Avery flies just right at it, and is because at the end of the day, Avery is a type of person that will sacrifice themselves for the greater good.
Yeah.
So it's a part in that book where everybody's like, you know, all the heroes are doing what heroes do, and Avery's like, well, I don't see any other way to deal with it. You got, if you haven't read that Nightfall series, you got to read. Brian did an amazing job with it.
I think I have the first couple. I think I have the first
okay.
two.
Yeah,
I gotta go back. This is years ago now.
He always pokes fun at me because while he was writing it, I was like, man, you got to give Avery like a better, like a charging type of, scenario where, because Avery's that type of character where if if the chips are down and everything's about to go to shit, Avery's gonna just go at it and say, well, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out. And it's funny, it's funny you say that. And then I look and I turn the page and it's like a full page of Avery doing exactly that.
Wow.
So he was like, why don't you look at everything before you tell me what to put in the book? He always he messes with me about that stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry. I have a tendency to kind of think out loud at the same time.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
So with that being said, then I do want to go back to the question I had about that full repertoire now. So we've got energy, we've got force fields, we've got healing factor. I want to ask about what exactly are the energy blasts and how strong they are.
So the energy blasts are like it's a gravity based energy blast.
Mm-hmm.
So it uses the full weight of like gravity in space. Mm-hmm. So these things are, how can I put it? They're as strong as the gravitational pull of planets. That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Okay,
So it's
now
in energy form, and she also has what I like to call a gravity pull. So like if she sees you over there, she can form around you a gravity pull and bring you to her.
I like that. I immediately thought Naruto with the almighty push and almighty pull. Like that's what they
Right, right, right,
like that.
right.
So the blast, if it hits you, then are you affected by the level of gravity that's being projected?
Yeah, so it's like throwing. It would be like throwing a. Think of it like it'd be like throwing a Jersey barrier at you, but way more dense and way more heavy.
Interesting. Okay. So, okay. Now, let's say somebody gets into a beam struggle with Avery. Is the weight
Hmm.
of their own blast now weight? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if say,
Right,
conversation, we'll bring Dragon Ball into this, right?
right.
Say Saga Goku is fighting against Avery. They're in a beam struggle, Command Man wave versus this blast, and he's just, he's under. We're replacing Vegeta right now with the Galagun.
Right,
The
right.
weight of Avery's blast affecting his effectiveness with his own command wave blast. It's like
So
blast heavier, and then in turn, when it hits him, makes him even more heavier.
makes him even more heavy, and the fact that Avery can do all this in space means her density can change on Earth. So
Nice.
it will become heavier, and then basically they can just push whoever it is right down.
Goodness gracious. Okay. This is good. Okay. So let me ask this about we're going to close out in a second, but I want to know,
Hmm.
does Avery get drained by the utilization of these abilities? Again, talking about the force field, talking about the energy blast. Um, Are they drained from the usage of these abilities, or is this something that's just so inherent that it's not really pulling energy from them?
Well, it depends on the size. If Avery goes malevolent, then yes.
Okay.
But it Avery's baseline is like it's like entropy. It's a
See.
it's a forever feeding engine
Mhm.
that can go. But once Avery goes malevolent, then yes.
I see. And does that have to do with the fact that it's so taxing on an emotional scale?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is. Because
You know,
base level is just uh 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 think of it like whoever your favorite football player is or
mhm.
whatever player before they became pro.
Right. Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so whatever they did to become pro, whatever it is, whether it was just chicken breast and brown rice, whether it's steroids and whatever
Mhm.
it is, that's what that malevolent part is.
I see.
And once Avery goes all out with that malevolent part, then you know that's what the recovery's for. So Avery could go malevolent, fall unconscious, but that the energy inside Avery would whisk her away like that. And Avery's so big. I mean, space is so big and so vast.
So
Also, Avery can breathe in space.
ooh. So
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 Avery can go.
anywhere.
Avery can go to Mars and sit on the planet and recover there.
Interesting. So you said knocked out and she can be whisked away. Are we talking teleportation, or is she kind of unconsciously flying to the next safest area?
It's exactly it. Unconsciously flying to the next safest area.
Okay. And then, of course, we're talking that light speed, so it's just like boom, just out of there. Okay.
Yep.
Would they be able to fight unconsciously, right? I'm thinking about Rock
No.
really holding himself.
No. That
Okay,
that would that would definitely be at Avery's most vulnerable.
I see. Okay. This has been good. I said these aren't usually that long, and I usually try to keep them at 30
No, no, no.
minutes.
I don't mind at all.
Okay,
I
this
don't
is
mind at all. Like I said, I'm at the airport right now and we're waiting. I still got over an hour before we're leaving, so I'm good.
oh wow. So with that being said, then I would love for
Hmm.
you to let us know where we're gonna see Avery pop up next, how we can
Right.
support you, websites, social media, the whole nine.
Okay. So Avery's in Avery number one now, and then Avery is in a group of mini issues that we have on our store. You can get there through the Facebook page. Our website is down now for work and maintenance, but so you can just go to Facebook and go to Constant Hustle Comics. You can go to Instagram, look up Constant Hustle Comics, TikTok, um, Twitter, everywhere, and there's links to our stores on there. Right now, we just have digital copies of everything, but Avery's in Avery #1, then Avery's in a mini issue, then Avery's in each one of the 5 issues of Nightfall with Wingless Comics. Then Avery's in Eviction Bellum through Constant Hustle Comics, edition 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it right now. But there's going to be more. So that's already 1, 5, that's 6, that's 8 books already that Avery's in.
Okay. So, oh, man, yeah, I am curious. Is Avery going to make an appearance in Epiphany Engine?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Avery's the character that's in Epiphany Engine. Yes, Avery is.
Okay, look, and everybody that's listening and watching right now, Epiphany Engine is going to be an absolutely massive
Oh my God.
event with some of the biggest names, not only in the indie comic book community, but also mainstream DC and Marvel. And if I'm not mistaken, Milestone folks are going to be a part of this. All those announcements coming soon. If not out already, I do believe Kickstarter will be going live in June. I think by the time this is live, that should be either fully announced or already going. So definitely check that out. This whole crossover is going to be massive. Our character Soul is actually going to be in that as well. So definitely looking forward to sharing a comic book with you there.
Right. I like the design of Soul, man. I got to admit, y'all did a great job with that. I like the design of Soul. I really do.
I got some new heat for you coming soon.
All right. I'm definitely down to check it out, man. Please let me know.
For sure. And of course, I'm going to Midnight Comics, everybody. You can check us out, Midnight X Comics, everywhere except for Facebook and YouTube, or we're just Midnight Comics. Of course, you want to hit midnightcomics.org. If you're interested in signing up, having your character broken down, that is an Indie Versus section on there for you as well. And of course, we do have a Facebook group where you can jump in with your favorite indie comic book character or your very own original indie comic book character. Just throw your character out in the match. You don't even need to have a comic book out for the group. So if you want to just jump in there, enjoy the conversation, learn more about all the indie comic book characters that are out there, feel free to join in on there. We also have an Instagram page for it as well. Of course, don't forget to get these early looks here for future episodes on Spotify. We've done away with our Patreon, and we're doing everything straight from the website. So if you guys want to join that and get all the early looks there, definitely, again, visit midnightcomics.org. For all of that, sign up for our mailing list to get a free book. This month right now, we're doing free book of Soul. So definitely check that out as we prepare for Epiphany Engine to drop. And before I hit the rambling stage, thank you all for tuning into another episode of the Indie Breakdown. We had an awesome time with Lawrence here today. And remember, until next time, midnight is coming.